Today's a big day if you're an NFL fan, especially if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, because we're the most diehard fan base in the entire league. Welcome into the Browns Report presented by PrizePicks. I'm your host, Joey O'Donohue, and with the Browns schedule officially dropping tonight, we're going to go over what's already been confirmed, what's already been leaked and confirmed in the NFL scheduling world, and then the latest rumors for the Cleveland Browns. You're not going to want to miss out when that schedule is finalized, folks. So hit that subscribe button and turn your notifications on. I'm going to make a video immediately. We're going to be the first Browns channel to put out the schedule with a video analyzing it, okay? So do not miss that. Subscribe with your notifications on. The Browns schedule coming out today, and we'll have you covered here at the Browns Report if you are a diehard Browns fan. So what do we know so far? Adam Schefter telling us that so far, week one, it's 49ers at Rams, Cowboys at Giants, Broncos at Chiefs. Here's some of the nuggets that are already confirmed. Lions at Bills is a week two matchup. Ravens, our division foe, will take on the Cowboys in Arlington. Well, actually, in Rio, Brazil. And then week 9, we've got Bengals at Falcons. A couple Browns keys there, right? Kevin Stefanski against the division opponent again, but this time he is an Atlanta Falcons head coach. And then Eagles at Cowboys is on Thanksgiving. We also found out that Thanksgiving Eve NFL matchup, so there'll be some Wednesday football, Packers and Rams right before Thanksgiving on Netflix, and it's been confirmed that week 1 will be Patriots-Seahawks. So use that if you're an NFL junkie to piece together other parts of the schedule, but those nuggets have been confirmed. So how about the Cleveland Browns? What's been confirmed for Cleveland specifically? Well, we know that the Browns are going to have the easiest NFL schedule in terms of opponent win percentage based on 2025, right? Opponents last year that Cleveland faces this year had a combined 42.9% win percentage. That is worse among every other schedule in the league. Good news for the Browns. There will be no international games for Cleveland. A lot of rumors that the Browns would be playing the Saints in Paris. It's actually the Steelers playing the Saints in Paris, not the Browns. And then obviously we know their home opponents. You got the division. You've got Houston. So we'll see if Deshaun Watson is a starter, but you've got the Texans at home, also the Falcons at home, Panthers, Raiders, and Colts. And then away, outside of the division, you've got Jacksonville, the Saints. So we'll get to go to New Orleans, just not Paris. And then Tampa Bay, Tennessee, and both New York teams will head to MetLife. Last year's schedule for the Browns, 0 primetime games. Okay, so as we start to foreshadow what the Browns' schedule will look like this year, I really wonder if we'll have any primetime games. None last year, unless you count the one London game, but that was early in the morning across the pond against Minnesota, and the Browns actually lost that game-winning touchdown drive by Carson Wentz. Who watched it? Let me know in the comments section. Type me. 2025 record for the Browns was 5-12, and they actually had the 5th easiest schedule in 2025 and couldn't capitalize. This year it's a little different. Literally the easiest, folks. So my question, will the Browns get any primetime games in 2026? I do really wonder if Shador's starting, does that factor in? I bet the NFL wishes they knew who our starting quarterback was, Watson or Shador, because if it was Sanders for 17 games, I bet you we'd get a couple. But potentially, if outside of who's quarterbacking, could Falcons-Browns be one, right? Kevin Stefanski against his old team. I could see that being Thursday night. I could also see Bucks-Browns being a Monday night or Thursday night game. Baker Mayfield, put him on display against his old team. Right, there's some juicy matchups for the Browns season. I think the NFL should be considering. Ravens-Browns, Todd Monken against his old team. They love giving us division matchups, right? A lot to consider there. Or Texans-Browns, if with the Watson angle, will the NFL give us one of these in the bright lights? What do you think in the comment section? If you had to predict it, will the Browns get a primetime game? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know in the comment section if you think that the Brownies will be getting a primetime game here in 2026. And I'll tell you what I'm thinking in just a moment. Coming up, more scheduling nuggets and predictions for you guys on the big schedule release day that happens tonight. Stay tuned. But first, let's give a special shout-out to our good friends over at PrizePicks. It's the place to go if you love daily fantasy sports. Player picks on fire right now with playoff basketball getting going. There's no better place to cash in while watching sports than with PrizePicks. You guys can follow me on the app and see all of my lineups. My username is JoeyOD1. Get the picks before they're even posted here on the show. You can also follow your friends, share lineups with each other, and explore your favorite celebrity lineups right there on the PrizePicks app. Let's take a look at the season lineup I've got for football action. Kenyon Sadiq, I'm going with the more on his receiving yards, more than 449 and a half. I'm also going to go more on Jordan Tyson receiving touchdowns. That could be a big factor if healthy. So I'm going more than 4.5 there. And Caleb Downs, more than 1.5 interceptions. I think that's a fun one, even though he's a big physical safety. Guys, the app's really easy to use, just more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. And a new user offer, if you download the PrizePicks app today and use code HMA, you get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Link is in the comment section and description of today's video. And that's code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. So how does the Browns' strength of schedule compare to the rest of the AFC North? Well, Cleveland actually gets a little bit of an advantage here, okay? Because the Browns have the 32nd hardest schedule. All right? It really means they have the easiest. So 429 is that win percentage from last year's opponents, as I showed you guys. Bengals are still relatively easy. They come in as the 30th hardest, but Browns significantly easier for 45% for the Bengals. Ravens up to 47-9, and then the Steelers have the toughest in the AFC North at 49-5. And I also think the Steelers are going to be in the worst situation of any team in the AFC North. So this is great for the Browns. One thing that's really interesting, though, is the Browns, only team in the AFC North not going international, okay? So we don't have that extra travel, that jet lag. You know, I look for slight advantages everywhere I can, Browns fans. That's what we do as diehard fans. But when you look at all the international games that are confirmed for 2026, you'll see the Ravens go overseas. You'll see that the Bengals will play the Falcons, and you'll also see the Steelers going over to play the Saints in Paris. So all AFC North teams, but not the Cleveland Browns. Another good thing for the Browns that has been confirmed as well is air miles traveled. This year, the Browns come in at 31st out of the 32 teams. They don't have to travel too far this year, okay? And this also helps your preparation, staying in your own bearings. Let's see if that can make an impact for the Browns next year. But they're one of the teams that doesn't have to travel too much in this year's schedule. And last year, well, that somewhat had an advantage for those top few teams, right? The Bills, 12 wins, made the playoffs. Chicago Bears, 11-win team. After being a 5-win team, I'd like to see us make that exact same turnaround. So, you know, I take every little edge that I can. Is it a huge factor, air miles traveled? You know, probably not. It's going to come down to your roster more so than anything. But your schedule could be a huge factor, right? The Patriots made the Super Bowl having one of the easiest schedules in the entire league. So, and they were also a team that made a turnaround from 4 wins to the frickin' Super Bowl, ladies and gentlemen. So I'd like to get optimistic based on everything I'm hearing about the Browns' schedule coming up. One more game that he confirmed, by the way, that we just got is that the Lions will host the Bears on Thanksgiving. So that's happening once again. Chicago won the NFC North last season while we were speaking of the Bears, but they went 0-2 against Detroit. Something interesting. That team that didn't have to travel too much last year, getting a Thanksgiving game this time. So let's get to my Browns predictions, okay? Last segment on the show. Number 1, I'm going to give the Browns a primetime game. I think we're back. I think we're back in the lights, okay? People do tune in to the Cleveland Browns, all right? There's always a lot of storylines and headlines surrounding us. And so I am going to manifest the Browns get one. I think there's a lot of excitement when you get primetime games. And for the Cleveland Browns, they were not in primetime at all in 2025, but their most recent games came like this. Monday Night Football against the Broncos. Who remembers this shootout with Jameis Winston, roller coaster, and Jerry Jeudy had like 200 yards. Hopefully he can do that if we're in primetime again, right? Judy's still on the roster at the moment. And then we had that snow game against the Steelers. This was probably one of my favorite game of the year for the Browns that year, 2024. Who remembers that? A little snow game action and Jameis Winston, having some fun. Browns beat the Steelers, and it was only one of their 3 wins of that year. Then we also had a win against the Jets. Joe Flacco went absolutely nuts, and the Browns put up 37 on Thursday Night Football. That was 2023. Then the time before that was the Browns-Steelers loss. Close game. I believe that was actually the game Nick Chubb had a, injury that just changed everything for the worse for Nick Chubb. He's a free agent right now. See if he can land somewhere else. We're back in Cleveland just to get him back in here. We love Nick Chubb. But really, the Browns have won 4 of the last 6 primetime games, okay? So we're made for the spotlight, one could say. And I would love that excitement around the Cleveland Browns team this year. I'm going to predict they get one. Also, for week 1, heard a lot of rumblings. Could this be the Buccaneers? I think the NFL is going to stick with the division theme for the Browns. They went Bengals last year. I'm going to go Ravens. Browns, Ravens, NFL week 1 is my prediction here. Also checks a box of Todd Monken going against his old team. And so that's my prediction for week 1. There's been deep rumors of this, right? ESPN Cleveland had put out that they have heard that's at least possible that the Browns open at Baltimore. I would rather host, but Cleveland has more road games than home games technically this season. Maybe the one downside of their schedule. But I'm going to predict Browns and Ravens. To my point, there is storylines there. There's a division matchup. Last year, the Browns also were given a tough schedule to start the year, if you guys remember that. I mean, their first 5-6 games were brutal, to be honest, when going into the year. So I do imagine some tough ones early again for Cleveland, but hopefully we can split that up. And the Browns, are flirting with a winning record through the first half of the season before the bye week. That's going to do it for the last-minute rumors we had to talk about. If you guys haven't already, if you're excited for the season, you're going to need some merch to rep the Cleveland Browns. We've got it for cheap at chatsports.com/Browns, but great quality, super comfortable material that we love and rep here on the show. So if you're a real one, if you're a diehard Browns fan, go to chatsports.com/Browns and let me know what you like the most in our shop. Link is in the comment section of today's video. Real ones, get your Browns Sport merch. That is going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you give me a follow on X as well. I'll be tweeting throughout the entire schedule release. So follow me at Joey070. And as always, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys pretty soon here in the Browns Report.